Good afternoon. Uh, so recently, my boyfriend decided to embark on a journey to go after one of his biggest dreams, and that is to be a voice actor. And I wholeheartedly support him. I really want him to succeed, first of all, and I don't want him to ever regret having not tried, you know? Because, like, even if he fails, he did try. He went out, he put his voice out there, and that's what I want for him. Regardless of what happens, I want him to go after everything that he wants. Um, and I know that he feels that way about me as well. So that's why I'm gonna try to do this, to try to talk. Now, I will say that me talking is one of the most terrifying things that I could do. Um, I struggle with a couple mental illnesses and a severe lack of confidence, in addition to a little cold right now. Uh, like, I've had a cough off and on for about 2 weeks now, and at this point, it sounds like I'm losing my voice, but I really just have to clear my throat. So, anyway, I'm home alone today, which is difficult for me. I mean, I really love being by myself because I don't have to do anything for anyone else. That sounds really selfish, but I mean, I get the time to focus on myself and my own needs and what does Ashley need? What does Ashley want? What is Ashley hungry for? What is Ashley thirsty for? Um, and most of the time, it's just rest and just focusing on breathing and how to get my pain levels at a level where I'm not bothered. um, at the same time, it's difficult to be by myself because then it's just my own voice that I hear, and my voice is the most negative voice in my head. I mean, I'm not angry with myself for having the mental illnesses, but having depression and anxiety, it makes me depression. I focus on the things that I've done. Essentially, it's focusing on the things that I've done, and anxiety is worrying about what I'm going to do. And depression and my self worth levels have been so low for so long that I'm anxious that I don't have a future and that I don't have something to look forward to. And so whenever I have my own thoughts and only my own thoughts to focus on, like that's all I can hear. And it's hard to drown that out physically. You can't physically drown that out unless you're like abuse substances, or I don't know, if you're really good at meditating or you're on really strong meds. Um, anyway, I'm on meds. I take antidepressants and I have other meds that I can take situationally, and it's really been helping me. But um, I I hesitate to say that things have gotten worse because I don't want to be on a stronger medicine that will drown out the rest of me. Because who I am right now is everything that I've wanted to be for myself. Like I sit here, I meditate on being strong and being feminist and being kind and being spiritual and expressing myself. And then when I'm by myself and I'm feeling down about myself, all I can think of is I'm not strong. I don't express myself. I am quiet. I haven't taken care of myself. I'm not self sufficient, that I'm weak. And then I go out in the real world and it's like the actual opposite of that. Um, like at work, I've had several people tell me that I was tough and that I'm very strong. And if someone says anything remotely sexist or remotely racist or colorist, I am the first person to interject. Whether or not I'm involved in the conversation, I interject and I focus on, what actually happened or being politically correct because it's not kind to say something like that about someone, even if it isn't you, especially if it isn't you. Because what do you know about not being you? So when I'm alone and or most of the time, like a lot of other millennials, I'm on my phone all the time. And it's mostly like Instagram and Facebook and a lot of scrolling and reading articles, but also a lot of looking at videos and lifestyle things and observing my peers essentially because in real life I'm not with women that are 27 that are white that are alternative that listen to Broadway and like spiritual things and like exploring nature and like reading books and that have mental illnesses. I am the only person I know that's in my situation, and I'm also really shy and introverted. So the way that I communicate with people my own age or people in general is online. And well, besides work. I mean, I communicate with people at work, but that's work. I'm not there to make friends. I'm just there to work hard and go home, to make a living and then live my life. Um, and it's been really damaging. It's been harshing me a lot. And I don't know how to not be on Instagram and Facebook because that's how I learn. That's how I communicate with people. All of my family is on the internet, apart from my partner and my partner's family, who is in the real world and in this city. But all of my family lives really far away from me, so I don't get to see what they're doing. They don't get to see my face. They don't know what I'm up to on a day to day life. So I know that at least whenever I share things on the internet and my family members see it, like, we know that we're both still alive at the very least. And we know that we're doing well enough that we have the internet, that we have access to telephones, that we still have the internet accounts that we have. And, it's at the very least, I'm letting people know that I'm not dead yet. And it's very morbid, but that's the truth. But everything besides communicating with my family is really, I think, damaging to me because I look at other people and I don't think I want that. I want to be that person. I think I wish I didn't have to struggle through the things that I struggle through every day. Like if I wasn't in pain so much or if this didn't hurt me so much, if I wasn't so scared so much, like I could be those things. I could go that place. I could go to those places. I could wear those things. And it's not that I want to be somebody else. It's that I don't know. It's just a lot of comparing, and I feel like it's not very fair to me in that not everyone should be doing that. It's probably not very healthy for me either to be on the internet as much as I am and to be on my phone as much as I am. And so my mental illnesses are really making things hard for me. I mean, how do I find out events to go to and how do I make friends in real life without knowing where to go and who to go with? Cuz I did not go to school in this town. And, high school was 10 years ago, but I don't know anyone in this town other than people that I've worked with. And most of the people I've worked with are much older than me. They are not my peer group. And or I did not stay in contact with them after I left that job. which is mostly the case. In addition to, I've been in several not so healthy relationships, and every time I left that relationship, I lost that entire friend group. So I've had a lot of experiences over the last 10 years, just not a lot that I look fondly on, because like a lot of it feels like it wasn't real, and it feels like it wasn't me, because I am so different from who I was 10 years ago or 5 years ago or 3 years ago. Whenever I hear, "Oh, well you used to do that 4 years ago." And I'm like, "Yeah, well that was 4 years ago. A lot of shit went down since then." Um beginning and end with, I've been homeless since then. I lost my father since then. I lost my grandfather. I lost my aunt, whom I love dearly and whom inspired me so much, in addition to my father, in a lot of the same ways. And in a very short period of time, it was October through April was a grieving period. And then I was unemployed for 6 months after that. And then I worked two jobs at the same time for many months after that. So I felt like I didn't live for a solid year and a half. And it was a lot of exploring. And so, even experiencing one major loss in your life, it's a major change. And you have to learn how to live your life without that person. And you are forever changed because you no longer have that person on this plane of living. So it's like I can't contact them. And I spend a lot of time like wishing I could, because I just want to know, I just want that person back. um Sorry, that got really dark really quick. I mean, well, this is talking about mental illnesses, but that certainly had an effect on who I am. And, considering the losses, it definitely makes me want to be stronger. And I don't want to be in that place where I couldn't get out of bed again. And I will give myself permission to not get out of bed for about a day at a time. If it's more than a day, it does me more harm than good. And so I've made it a habit to open the drapes in the morning, to have a routine for breakfast. It's literally toast and coffee. But the dog knows that whenever I stand up, I go to the bathroom, I do my business, I brush my teeth, I go make coffee and toast. And he sits there and stares at me and eats my crust while I have my coffee and toast. And I don't do these things in bed, because if I start eating in bed and have all of my meals in bed, then I will literally go from the kitchen back to bed, the kitchen back to bed, bathroom back to bed, that kind of thing all day. And right now, because I have access to a living room, and, well, I have a living room, I go to the living room and I hang out in the living room, and I have coloring set up there. I have my computer out there when I want to. The kitchen is right next to the living room, and I have a gaming console out there. And, there's a lot more life out there. There's a lot more light out there. And if and when I go back to bed, it's to take a nap. And naps, again, being in bed, it's good for me and it's bad for me. And so a lot of my self-care is, fighting back what my mental illnesses are telling me, because my depression wants me to stay depressed. And so whenever I need a nap and I go to bed and I'm like, I need to take a nap, I'm here to focus on resting. And then my depression is making me feel guilty for not trying to be better and for not being okay. Like, how dare you not be okay? People are feeling so much worse than you. People work so much more than you. People look so much better than you. You have so many goals that you need to complete that are all financially reliant on you working more, and you don't work enough, and you don't look cool enough, and you don't wear real clothes enough. And how are you going to succeed if you don't do more? But I need to fucking rest, man. Like, I need to sleep. I do work a lot. I am in a lot of pain, and I need to forgive myself for not being the ideal version of Ashley that I have in my head, I guess, because no one else put that version there. Nobody put these ideas in my head. I mean, considering how strong and stubborn I am, no one's going to tell me who I need to be. No one's going to tell me who I am. And I wouldn't let anyone tell me who I should be. These thoughts certainly don't come from my partner, and I just wanted to illustrate that right there. Like, none of these messages come from my partner, none of these messages come from my family, none of these messages come from my friends. I have surrounded myself with people that support me and that know that I have mental illnesses and what they are. And my partner is very, very concerned with what is going to trigger her, what does trigger her, how can I make her feel better. And, you know, a lot of struggling with my mental illnesses for so long has been, how do I feel better? How do I tell people? How do I communicate things? How do I feel my feelings? How do I communicate my feelings? And so, yeah, communicating my feelings is what this is. This is me communicating my feelings. Like, being alone for the day. I'm literally alone until about 5 o'clock. It is 1 o'clock, and I will not be alone at 5 o'clock because that is when the child comes home. And, you know, I'm very grateful for my alone time because I'm a very introverted person, and I need to recharge. I need recharging time and resting time and time without so much noise happening in the house because he's a child. So I need that. I feel guilty about that. And it's not enough time by myself, and yet it's too much time by myself. It is a double-edged sword, being alone. And yet I don't have to be alone. I could literally do anything I want to do right now. And I can't because I need to rest. And I need to recharge. And I need to meditate on things that are positive. And I need to observe things that are positive. And I don't need escapism right now. I need reality right now. I need to be grounded in who am I? What is my path? And that the destination isn't what life is solely about. It's about being on the journey to a destination and then getting to another destination. Life is about living the journey. And for so long, I never realized that this is my journey and that I'm not living somebody else's journey. I am my own journey. This is indeed a life that I have been given and a life that I intend to lead because I am my own person. I don't live somebody else's life. I am not just someone's daughter. I am not just someone's girlfriend. I am not just someone's sister. I am someone of my own capacity, and I have my own power, and I am here to be that because there isn't anybody else that lived my life, and there isn't anybody else that's going to get where I'm going to be the way I did. And I need to take a nap. Golly. I do need to take a nap. I also need to eat something. So I'm going to wrap this up and see what I can do with it. I hope you have a terrific day or a terrific night, and I hope you do something that makes you happy or makes you content, because you can't always go for happiness, but sometimes you can go for better or slightly better than what it was. You know, contentedness is better than unhappiness, I feel. All right. Goodbye.